everyone, so today we're going to show you the Close to My Heart tools in the annual inspirations. So if you're looking for the tool page, it starts on page 104 and it goes all the way to 109. So you've got 6 pages full of our awesome tools. So we're going to start off at 104. So the first tool I'm going to show you today is our water pencils. So they might have a different packaging now, but they're the exact same thing. There are 24 of each. These are the basic colors and these are the secondary colors. So I've done a few trial runs here with one of the colors, but I am now going to take, let me take orange, blue and orange. Alright, so basically you just color a little bit like that. Then this is our medium round water paint or watercolor brush. What it is you actually can untwist it right here, fill it with water, which I've already done, and then you just squeeze it a little bit to get some water out of it, and it works just like a paintbrush. See how nicely that blends? So you can make all your watercolor cards. So this one is our medium round. We also have a small round, which has a smaller brush. Then we also have the medium flat, which is like this one. See how flat that is? So anything good for like strokes or anything like that. So along with our watercolor pencils, we also have our watercolor paints and our paintbrush set. So there are 36 colors of the watercolor paints, all of the spectrum, and then the paintbrushes that go along with them. However, if you do not have the paintbrushes, you could always use our water brush as well for any of this. You could also use the water brush for our ink pads. So what you would do is you would just take the ink pad, squeeze it a little bit, get that ink on this side of the pad, take the brush, dab a little bit, and then paint with it. We also have a blending pen which merges the water-based inks for a watercolor effect. Alright, so next we have our ShinHan markers. So they look like this. They are each sold individually, but we have 25 different markers, and Close to My Heart has created this cool little roll-up so you could store them easily in, which I love. It's great. But we'll tell you more about that in our organizer video. So since we've been working on the cut above cards the last few days, we just stamped the little reindeer. So I'm going to color them in really quickly. Alright, so there is a thick part. Whoops, that's the thin part. We have a thin part to the marker, and we have a thick part to the marker. It actually says it right on the marker itself, but I didn't pay attention. My bad. So the thin part I love because you can get into those tiny little spaces really easily, like in his ears. So, along with our ShinHan markers, we also have metallic markers, which are these two cuties right here. So we have silver and gold, of course, but I'm going to use the gold because, you know, Rudolph has jingle bells on him. So, just going to use that, color in those jingle bells a little bit. And after I finish using all of my markers, I get the cute little reindeer tag. Isn't he adorable? So cute. So, also, which we have shown you before, is our brand new Shimmer brush. So if you even wanted to give Rudolph a little bit of a sparkle or have him in the snow, you could just sparkle that background. And he's in glistening snow now. Super cute. So to go along with that, after you've made all your cute little cut above tags, if you wanted to put something on the back, like a little tag or anything, probably a little bigger than this circle, but I actually just used our 1-inch circle punch for this. We have our LePen. So this is a super thin tipped black marker, so you can write anything on it. And there you go. Super, super thin, great for all of those projects. Also, if you have a black piece of paper that you wanted to write on, you could either use the silver or the gold. See how well that shows up on there? Great. great pens. Along with these pens, we also have our chalk marker, which works the exact same way, but it is white. So I also forgot to mention, with our ShinHan markers, there is a blending pen. So it is part of the 25, but what this does basically is, let's say you take this purple and make a nice and thick area. And let's say I want the middle to be a little bit duller than the rest of it. Just gonna take this and color over it, and ta-da! See? Took out some of the color. This is also great for shading if you have a bunch of the different colors. So let me take a new piece of paper. So sometimes if you actually let the ShinHan markers sit for a while, they will blend a little bit together. But if you wanted to give it that extra blend, you could just color right over that, and it will blend them together nicely. So along with all this great stuff, we also have our spray pens. They come in a pack of 3. I have 2 here. But same as before, twist it off, throw some water in there. And then if you have any of our re-anchors, you actually just take a drop or 2 of that, shake this whole thing up, make sure you put the cap back on, shake it up, and then you can just use it and spray it on your paper, and you've got a misted colored paper. So that's what those are good for. So after that, we actually have our Daubers. So I don't know if anybody has ever used these, probably have seen them used. We have them, they come in packs of 3 or 12. I'll show you how to use a few different techniques for them quickly. So I'm going to use our Whisper ink. My mom has actually labeled all of them. This one's a little faded. But just so we know which Daubers go with which. So I'm going to take some of this. I also always take a piece of just extra paper to put underneath it if I'm daubing on the side. Just because you do not want to get stuff on the VersaMark. It's a great surface to use. But let's say you get some ink on it, you put in a white piece of paper down later, you'll have the residue. It's not fun. So I'm just going to dab that ink. And then if I want to put it on the side, I can always just do that. Or if I want to, I could always do it in the air too to get a thinner side done. Or you could even just make circles. I love making paper with just circles. However, I also love to just do this with it. So sometimes I'll take a bunch of different daubers and I'll just rub them along some paper, and you make your own paper. Honestly, if you can't think of something or can't find the perfect colors to match your pictures or anything like that, or the pattern paper you have, you can make your own paper. Also with the daubers, which it's not exactly a sponge that's on the top of something that has a finger hole, but we have our sponge. Ours is a little beat up, as you can see. But it comes as a round circle, just like this, which we have actually cut up. Because if you cut it into different pieces, then you can kind of use it like the daubers. I'm going to take the emerald ink this time. You can actually take a different edge of the sponge, and it will give it different textures. So, if you're making that paper, you can make textured paper. Also, what's good about the sponge is you can actually just throw this right underneath the sink, wash it off, let it dry, and it's good for next time. So you've got none of the other ink on it, and you can just keep reusing it. Here's some of the clean sponges, but you know, these will be messed up in a few days. Alright, so for our next part, we have a few different tools. So this one is a quilling tool, and these are just our plain tweezers. So tweezers can be used for anything, you know, just picking up things like the quilling tool. It has a little safety cover on it. Make sure you don't lose that because they are very sharp. Once again, small children, not good. So the quilling tool, if you have never used this, it has a longer side and it has a shorter side. So I'm going to use the shorter side. I just cut a strip of paper off of one of my pieces of paper. So basically what you do is you put a thin piece of paper into the one side and basically just twirl. So when you do this, it will make a nice circle. So basically, that's what it does. If you let it go, it unravels like that. Or if you even just wanted to curl a little part of it, you could, well, you can unravel it like I'm doing right now too. Or if you wanted to just curl one side, you could curl that, and then you can see that little curl right there. Or you can actually make cute little designs for cards like this. So all of these flowers my mom actually used the quilling tool for. These she actually did cut off of the Art Philosophy Cricut, which is a close to my heart Cricut. Unfortunately, that one did retire in August. However, we do have a few of them left. If anybody would like any, just message us and we can get you one. So she just made these little flowers with the quilling tool. She inked them before she twirled them up, and then and all good to go. So our next tool is our bone folder. Looks like this. It has a cute little handle here. So I'm actually going to take one of the close to my heart cards. So with the cards, there is actually a perforated center right here, both sides. Normally people try to fold it actually towards the side that the indent is. That is not correct. You actually turn it over, and when you feel that bumped side, that's the side you turn it towards. So you're going to fold that inside. Just take your bone folder, press it down, and then you have a perfect crease. Just like that. Easy to use. Even if you don't have something that is perforated, let's say you just have a piece of paper that you want to fold in half, or at a diagonal in this case. Just going to fold that, take this, press it down, and it makes it nice and smooth for you. So that's the bone folder. Then we have our edge distresser, which looks like this. So there's a bunch of different blades, thicker to thinner. I'm going to take this black piece of paper, so hopefully you can see it a little bit easier. But it just distresses the edge a little. So you just rub it out like this, and see, it gives you that unclean edge. So all close to my heart paper actually has a white center inside. So if you do anything like this, you can actually see the difference. Also, with that white edge inside, it makes it easier to use a dauber, like we said before, and maybe ink those edges. So maybe you don't want them white, but I wanted the whisper. I'm going to just make them whisper. So that is the edge distresser. Alright, so to go along with the edge distresser, we also have our sanding tool. Ours is a little beat up, but we use it, so it's going to be like that. So basically, it's this little block here, and you get a bunch of new sanding stuff as well, so you could always just, replace the old sandpaper. Or, you've got a little emery board. So basically what the sanding tool does is if you just scratch along the paper, you'll see that it made it rough and stuff. So you could do that to the whole paper if you wanted to give it that rough look, or you can use it along the edges. I'll use this for this. I usually, if I'm sanding, I'll just hold it along my finger or anything like that.
It's also good to use on items that you have embossed. You can rub the sandpaper over the embossed parts and take off the color. It gives it a distressed look.
You could do that too. And then I've just distressed the edge of it a little bit. If this one was a fine one, so didn't do as much damage, but this one, see, it's 60 coarse. This would take off a lot more like that. So just some simple sanding tools. Right there. So our next item is our rub and remove eraser. So it looks like this. It's a little rubber block, square block. So basically what you do, let's say I have some sticky glue on here. Oh no, I don't want adhesive on here. Just gonna rub it out. Luckily I had a piece of adhesive on here. That was cool. Just rub it out and it is gone. So then if you get that little bit of gross adhesive, you just pull it off, and that's how the eraser kind of fades. But I mean, hey, we've had this for years and we use it all the time and it's hardly faded, so it's a great tool to have in your inventory.
And you can use it on papers also.
Oh yes, you can use it on paper. I just use it on my VersaMat a lot more because I glue on it a lot more. So our next tool is our all-purpose mat. Comes in a box like this. Awesome looking mat. Ah. So this side is actually sticky. So this side actually goes, the stickier side goes towards your table to make sure that it doesn't stick. See, it's not moving anywhere. And this is super, super slippery. So if you are working with those watercolor paints or the spray pens or the paintbrush, anything like that, if you accidentally, oops, got some water on it, it doesn't do anything. Super easy to clean. Just take a paper towel, wipe it off, and you're good to go. So the all-purpose mat is a 15-inch by 20-inch mat that wipes clean easily, but also it is heat resistant up to 240 degrees Fahrenheit. So we have our embossing tool, which is also great with all our embossing powders.
The VersaMark ink pad works in conjunction with our acrylic stamps and embossing powders so that you get a clear impression of the stamp.
We hope that you have enjoyed our display of some of our close to my heart tools. There are a few more tools that we will be showing you, but if you would like to see those, please click the link above to see our next video.